Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of the Royals Rundown Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. This show, as always, is brought to you by RoyalsReview.com, your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Royals. Whether you need to find some rabid Royals fans, find the latest news, or read about the hottest prospects, you can do so at RoyalsReview.com. I am Jake Milham, joined today by Jeremy Greco, who, unfortunately, Jeremy, just not a lot to talk about with the Royals.
No, just nothing's happening.
Nothing really going on. No baseball today.
Waiting for baseball to start, baby.
Yeah, just waiting, just counting the days. Wait, hold on. No, this comes out on Thursday morning. So hours. We are mere hours away from MLB Opening Day. The Kansas City Royals have finally made it out of spring training. The wait is over, Jeremy. We're past like the hypotheticals. We're past the will they or won't they? We are finally at game number 1 of the 162 game marathon. How excited are you?
I'd be more excited if I didn't know I had multiple work obligations tomorrow that were going to keep me from watching a good chunk of the game. But,
It's ridiculous.
It is.
You need to file
Opening
a complaint.
Day should be a national holiday.
It should. It absolutely should. I fully agree. And in that spirit, I did take tomorrow off just so I wouldn't have anything.
That wasn't an option for me, unfortunately. We're at an awkward time right now.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So to set the table, if this is the first time you're tuning into the podcast, thank you for joining us. We try to make a big deal out of the opening day episode. So I reached out to a whole bunch of different Royals writers, podcasters, content creators, and they sent in some good predictions. So those will be sparsed in throughout the episode. Plus, had a few write-ins, unfortunately, so I'll read off their responses as well.
Can I just correct you on one thing?
Oh boy, what'd I miss?
You should have stopped when you said, we try to make a big deal.
We
try to make a big deal. That's it. That's all you need. That's the slogan.
Period. Well, I'm not Bob Fesco trying to make a big deal out of wrong information, so.
No, not Bob.
Bob catching strays on a Royals podcast. What's new? All right. So, Jeremy, before we get to your predictions and my predictions, I do want listeners to know
the ones that are the correct ones. Yes.
Apparently, the elite ball knower, the almighty believer in the 2024 Royals.
I gotta throw out my credentials one more time. Okay, so 2017. Okay. We can go back to 2017. I predicted Mike Moustakas would break the home run record that year. He did. Okay. And then last year, I forget what happened in the years in between. Last year, I predicted Bobby Witt Jr. would win the MVP. He came in second. I predicted the Cole Reagans would win the Cy Young. He came in fourth. And I predicted the Royals would win 84 games and come in second place in the division. They won 86 and came in second place in the division. I was the only Royals review writer who thought they would win more games than they lost. So those are my credentials. This is not gambling advice. I want to be clear about that. Not gambling advice, but that's where we're at.
Yes, you have a great track record, especially last year. If you just look at 2017 and 2024
we don't
and
need
ignore
to
all those years between
2023, that is completely irrelevant. Just assume I got everything right those years also.
Of course. And I feel like we're being a little redundant here, but not every listener goes to royalsreview.com for some reason, because we have a bevy of preseason predictions and we had that awesome round table on royalsreview.com. Truthfully, I hadn't even looked at the full predictions thread that Max put up today. So I do want to look at this, because you're not even the most optimistic member of the Royals review staff.
I tried.
I know.
We added
you were
some
pretty dang close.
Bloods.
Yes, we did. So, Jeremy, for your predictions, you have everyone went chalk with the best Royals position player.
Well, there was someone put somebody else, I think, didn't they?
No, best Royals position. Bobby all the way, which I can't fault him.
I did notice that we also had a section for fans for Royals Review readers to write in, and Jonathan India came in second place with like 5% of the vote, which is not what I would expect. I expect him to have a great year. Maybe I should expect him to be the second best position player. Wouldn't suck if he was.
It'd be pretty damn nice. I'll tell you that much. Best Royals pitcher though was a little contentious, but you and I
do not get.
I don't either. Love you, Trenton. I don't get that one, but that is okay. You and I did differ on this one, but I am notably a what's the word? I'm a dark horse guy when it comes to the best pitcher. I went with Seth Lugo, but you went with the one and only Cole Reagans.
And it was
you got to make
out
a case
to me that I really should have gone with Chris Bubich if I was going to follow, my whole shtick. But it just didn't work out. It didn't occur to me, honestly. I was just like, obviously it's Cole Reagans, obviously.
Chris Bubich isn't even your favorite left-handed Royals pitcher. How does that make you feel?
He's my favorite. He's just not currently the best. And maybe Bubich will be better than Reagans next year, but he's not even a full year back from his Tommy John surgery, okay? So he's probably going to be a little short on innings this year, and that's going to make Reagans a more valuable pitcher. All right, there you go. There's my
excuse.
My explanation that I definitely did not just make up on the spot to cover my butt.
Hey, Seth Lugo second in AL Cy Young voting last year. I get it. He's probably poised for a little bit of regression, but I don't know. I believe in it. He's in a contract year too, so we'll see what happens there.
As the late great Therese Paylor has always used to say, the contract year is undefeated.
And Therese was right in that. R.I.P. So now we get to the record, which I was shocked to see the spread. On this record.
Big spread.
It's a massive spread.
There are some haters among the Royals review writers. I'm sad to say.
It happens. I mean, you were the second most optimistic. You have the Royals going for 90 wins.
Yeah, baby.
And I feel like it is possible. In that next episode, we'll talk about the narrow path to 90 wins. I was really excited to see an updated version ahead of the 2025
I
season.
Just found out that was up, and everybody who listens to the show knows how much I referenced that last year. I'm very excited. I was like, should I write one this year? I don't want to steal it from Suff 76 if he's going to write it, but I don't know how to contact him to find out if he's writing it. So what am I going to do? So, and then he posted it today, so I don't have to stress about it.
Thank goodness. One less thing on your plate. I was a little more pessimistic, but a cool 87 wins will get it done.
87 wins is a reasonable prediction.
It is.
Now,
it
75
is. Meanwhile,
wins. What are we doing?
Couldn't be me. At least I will say this: in the reader vote, there were ranges, right? It wasn't exact numbers.
We're paid all the Pop-Tarts to know the specifics.
Of course, we have the script. The readers don't. That's okay. I was pleasantly surprised to see that less than 70 wins it was 0%. No votes. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that. There's a little bit of optimism after 2024. Man, I don't want to go through all the predictions because there's a ton here. If you want to read them, they're up on royalsreview.com. I highly suggest you go and read them because I get it. There are some easy picks when it comes to the Royals specific stuff, but how the staff sees the 2025 MLB season going as a whole is very, very interesting. There's a lot of diverse reasons, paths, and who will ultimately be hoisting the commissioner's trophy at the end of the year. Jeremy, do you have anything else on predictions? Are you going to plant your flag on who is going to win the World Series this year?
I mean, I put it in writing, so I might as well put it in audio format. I predicted the Dodgers to win the World Series, go back to back. They will sweep the Royals out of the series. It's going to be brutal.
Oh, man, they would be pretty overmatched. I will say you and Bradford Lee did have the Royals winning the AL pennant and making the World Series.
Which I think might be the first time Bradford and I have agreed on anything.
Yeesh. That's tough. I will say I do also have the Dodgers winning a consecutive World Series.
On paper, man. Roster.
On paper, it's ridiculous.
I mean, Teoscar Hernandez would be the best. He would be the second best hitter on the Royals, and he's the third, maybe fourth best hitter on the Dodgers.
Yeah, maybe like on a cool Sunday, he's their like sixth best hitter.
This is bonkers. And then, of course, the starting pitching. We talk about the Royals starting pitching depth, but they've got guys that would be like, they would be ahead of Waka probably, who are like their eighth or ninth guys.
Correct. And I will say the readers' vote does go that way as well. 45.8% of y'all thinking the Dodgers will win. And then the Royals coming in second place at 27.6%. Hey, I love some pre-opening day optimism. Just bottle it up and open that bottle once August comes along. No matter where the Royals are at, you're going to need it.
So you sent me this list of questions. Am I supposed to answer these now, or are we doing that later?
Well, no, we're about to do it now.
Okay.
Because I want to.
Is there anything else you want to say about predictions? I'm like, well, I want to make sure I can answer these questions.
Of course. So what Jeremy's talking about is I sent out a few questions to those podcasters and writers that I was speaking about earlier on. Before we hear their answers, I wanted to hear Jeremy's at least. So Jeremy, let's go one by one. You already answered how many wins will the Royals end 2025
90.
with? Yes. But who will be the Royals MVP not named Bobby Witt Jr. and why?
Okay, so this is an important question.
It is.
Are we considering pitchers?
We are.
Okay.
We are.
It's Cole Reagans.
Yeah.
If it's not Cole Reagans and he stays healthy all year, it's Vinny Pasquantino.
Mm-hmm.
And if Vinny gets hurt and it's not Cole Reagans, it's Jonathan India. So there, I give you the top four, baby. And then Salvi comes in, he rounds out the top five.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more with that top five. For my second option though, I was gonna go with Vinny because I really am just manifesting that this is the year that he puts it all together. Now we spoke about. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there is a ton of positivity about Vinny Pasquantino in the national media, and I know that we've talked at length this offseason about what the offense did when Vinny went down, and he's only got a 106 WRC plus, and what does this mean, blah, blah, blah. But I also did that work with the RBI stuff to show that maybe he had a little juice in there that wasn't showing up in WRC plus. And the national media loves him. He is getting lots of love on Fangraphs. He's getting love all kinds of places. He got love. Joe Posnanski sent out to all his subscribers today, sent out top 100 baseball players in MLB this year. The Royals got 3 players on there. 2 of them, I think, are obvious to all of us. Cole Reagans, Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt comes in number 2 overall behind Shohei Ohtani. Very nice.
Yes.
And the third, Vinny Pasquantino, shows up on that list as the 7th best first baseman in baseball. Some people say 30 home run power in him. I don't know if he's got 30, but he gives you 20, and he gives you the sacrifice flies that he gives you. He gives you the 100 RBIs, the lack of strikeouts with people on base ahead of him now in both Jonathan India and Bobby Witt. That's a valuable player. And everyone's like,
very valuable.
We should be moving on from him, Jack Caglione. We got to get rid of him. We don't have room for both. When you got 2 hitters like this, you find room for both of them, okay?
Yep, exactly. Like I feel like fans are forgetting that for an extended period of time, the Royals both had like Billy Butler and Eric Hosmer on the major league roster. Like those were both primary first baseman guys who, Hosmer was much better in the field than Billy was, but both had excellent bats at that point in their career. And the Royals still made it work. It can happen at first base. That's why you have the designated hitter. We're not playing in the 70s anymore, okay?
And I know everyone's like, but Salvi's got to play first. Y'all, he doesn't. He can have a day off. It's okay.
He can.
If you've got Jack Caglione in the lineup, Salvi can have a day off.
Mm-hmm. That he can. And I mean, just Vinny gets it done so many different ways. Like it doesn't have to be an extra base hit or nothing for him.
Exactly.
I think that the eye is getting even more disciplined, which should be scary. He had just 71 strikeouts last year. I don't feel like fans appreciate how great it is that he had 554 plate appearances and only had 71 strikeouts.
That's insane.
It is. It really is. So I'm all on board there. Next question we got is, will the Royals win the AL Central and why?
Yeah, they're gonna. It's gonna happen. And here's why. The White Sox are nothing.
That's
The
nothing at
White
all.
Sox are free wins
Yes.
if you're competent. The Twins fell apart at the end of last year,
Yep.
kept their manager, didn't add anything to their team. Like if you could promise me, if you could look me in my eye and promise me that Royce Clayton and Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton are all going to be healthy all year long, all play 145 games. If you could promise me that, then I could have a conversation with you about the Twins being competitive. You can't promise me that. Didn't I? Royce Clayton is not Royce Clayton.
Royce Lewis.
Royce Lewis. I'm confusing him with the old Cardinals shortstop, like from
I've
like
never heard
30
that name
years
before.
ago. Royce Lewis. He's already hurt, if I've heard correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then,
Well, these
and
are
then
Guardians and the
Guardians
Tigers.
got worse. The Tigers are a threat. The Tigers are scary. The Guardians are a little scary, but the Tigers are the team to beat, I think, other than the Royals and the AL Central. But the Royals kind of had their number. And
Yeah.
I think that, like, if the Tigers had gone out and got Bregman, if they had added Bregman to that team, maybe
Mm-hmm.
but they've already got a bunch of injuries too. Parker Meadows, Matt Vierling are
Yeah.
both gonna miss some time. And was it Matt Vierling? I might be confusing him with someone else.
I believe it was. But go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, so couple of their better hitters are going to already miss a month to start the year. I think the Royals have the upper hand there. I think they're going to win the division. That's just where I come down. Is I think it'll be a dogfight between those two teams all
Yes.
year long, kind of like it was in 2014 and 2015. But I think the Royals prevail.
I do fully believe that there are going to be 4 teams in the mix, because we did see at times how hot the Twins could get even when they had guys up on the shelf. And that starting pitching rotation is no joke. It's
Well,
very, very good.
if Pablo Lopez bounces back.
True. But Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, I mean, that bullpen is okay at least.
Do you believe in Duran and Jax in the bullpen? Like,
I
really?
believe in
Are you like,
Jax.
yeah, they're definitely going to do it? You believe in Jax?
I believe in Jax. I'm
Well,
not
Jax is
100%
one
on
guy.
Duran.
That's not
Yep.
enough.
No, it's not. It's really not. And I do think that their depth
Royals,
is.
and it's Ursak.
I know, right? You can say the same things about the Royals if you twist it
I mean,
like that.
it's not just Ursak anymore, obviously, but it was for like a month there.
Mm-hmm. That it was. And then you know what? I will say this. You brought up Fangraphs, and Fangraphs has been having their positional power rankings, and they had the bottom half of the league in their rotation. So it was 16 through 30. And, it was no surprise to see the Chicago White Sox at 29th. It is what it is.
The only surprise is that they're not third.
Yeah, I know, right? I was
Garrett
surprised.
Crochet is not there anymore. Did anyone tell them Garrett Crochet is now a Red Sox?
Correct. And there's no edge there. I was surprised to see the Guardians down at 27th. And I think that is and that's something that I am going off of history and saying, like, well, the Guardians, they always seem to get the best out of most of their guys, not all their guys, but most of their guys. And I think that they could do so with their starting pitching rotation this year. But you have been notably this offseason saying, like, hey, this rotation is not going to get it done if they're looking to repeat.
Good last year. I don't know why I didn't expect them to be good this year. And you were talking about those positional things. They also did the bullpens, right?
Yes.
Royals and Guardians were both in the top half of those positional rankings. But the Guardians, I think they were 7th and the Royals were 14th or something like that. The Guardians were only like a win and a half above the Royals. That's all a bullpen buys you.
Mm-hmm. It's not a huge. A bullpen in a game by game sense is very, very important. But across an entire season,
exactly,
the starting rotation is more impactful and more valuable, if that makes sense, y'all.
Your relievers spend the least amount of time on the field contributing to your team's wins over the course of a season.
Exactly.
The bullpen as a whole will be there, but how often do you see double-digit runs allowed, right? So you're going to see fewer than 1 run allowed per inning on average in an MLB game. So even mediocre relievers are just get me through an inning, and then you bring in your guys for the high leverage. Bullpens are useful, but they're not valuable.
There you go.
Now, when you get to a short game series, you can have a whole different outlook. But they're also, they were talking during the postseason last year that, actually, if you use your high leverage relievers in every game of the postseason, they start to lose some of that juice.
Exactly. And because
ain't everybody HDH out here, baby.
Nope. We were really spoiled with that, weren't we?
I mean, those were the guys. Everyone's like, bullpens can do this. Well, HDH can do this.
Not every single bullpen trio.
Out there 2 innings every night. It didn't matter. They were going to get you out.
They were. They were so special. For myself, I also predicted that the Royals were going to win the division. I just think it is going to be I think it's going to be very similar to last year. I think it is going to. Well, hold on. Let me walk that back a little bit. So the race for the divisional title last year was not close. It wasn't the Guardians.
It wasn't.
Correct. The Guardians really ran away with it at the end there.
I think injury.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be separated by like 3 or 4 wins. 5 max between first place and third place
I would
teams.
guess 2 or 3.
There you go. And yeah, I think it is going to be a very fun season of baseball to watch. And there's all of the AL Central teams have some massive green flags that you can see flying from the interstate, but they also have a lot of red flags that fans are willing to ignore.
There are no perfect teams in MLB, not even the Dodgers.
Yeah, even the Dodgers.
There's a reason the Dodgers paid 9 elite starting pitchers.
Yeah,
because they don't expect any of them to stay healthy.
Nope, they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and are willing to see who's going to stick.
Was so sick he lost 25 pounds in a very short period, and they're just like, yeah, he's just going to play. Like, can he have a day off?
I would hope so. Certainly, something. Give
their
that.
Final exhibition games they were playing him.
I don't know. Maybe he just still wants. I don't know. He's also a dog of a competitor. That's just who he's been for so many years now.
And actually, that just sparked a memory inside my memory thing, my brain here.
Yeah, I can remember between your ears.
We're talking about an injury. We're worried about Vinny Pasquantino, whether he's going to be ready for opening day. The Royals demoted everyone except for their 26-man roster, including Vinny. The Royals think he's going to play.
They do. They really, really do. So let me, before I move on to this final question here.
We're not required to do that yet.
No, they were not. So before I move on to the final question, I will say that Vinny is kind of in I'm trying to think of how to equate it. When you have an NFL player and they're saying, hey, NFL player is going to go out for a warm up and we're going to see how they feel. That's how they're approaching Vinny. He's going to have a workout on Thursday. Apparently today's workout went fine on Wednesday, but still it's a hamstring. It can be a little finicky. So see how he feels on Thursday.
You think he's first baseman or the DH?
I think he's the DH.
Yeah, I think he is too. And I think Mark Canha probably starts at first.
Yeah, I would think so, because it's no offense against Freddie. It would feel a little odd seeing Salvi not starting behind the dish.
Yeah, you got
for opening day.
That was my thought too. Is Salvi's got to be the catcher on opening day?
Yeah, even if it's just for optics.
Honestly, Canha's probably a better hitter than Freddie. Like Freddie's very good for a backup catcher, but Canha is almost. I mean, he's league average.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think they'll be better off with that lineup.
So we will see what happens. Make sure you follow RoyalsReview.com. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, whole shebang. And as soon as we know something with Vinny Pasquantino's status, it will be up there. Trust me. That is like the biggest story heading into opening day. All right, last question. So, if the Royals win the division, they're going to the playoffs. So I didn't want to ask, okay, how will the season end? But how specifically will it end? Like, are they not going to make the playoffs? Are they going to make it to the ALCS? Are they going to get swept out of the wild card? Obviously, you think the Royals are going to end with a World Series sweep against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, since we already have
the Dodgers.
Yes, at the hand is the Dodgers. Excuse me. since we already have your
Bats, as the
answer,
case may be.
since we already have your answer, I do want to know how do you think the Royals fandom would take a series end like that, a season end like that?
Oh, not well.
Excuse me.
Not well at
Yeah,
all. They'd be like, "What's up?"
we thought it was bad before, but I mean, okay, let's say I could snap the fingers and say that the Royals would end their season in the World Series. I am pretty sure that 99% of Royals fans would take that
The
outcome.
thing that always stuns me, Jacob, is the number of people in the world who believe championship or nothing. That if you're not the champion, then nothing matters. And that attitude has always baffled me. I'm just like, I'm here to have fun. And if we're still playing in the playoffs, then I'm having fun. Now, losing in the 2014 World Series was heartbreaking. Absolutely. I actually found losing in the division series to the Yankees last year less heartbreaking, maybe because they were further away from their end goal. But
Yeah.
I'd have to sit and interrogate that within myself some more before I could give you a real answer. But, yeah, there's heartbreak at the end, but all the fun you had along the way. There's one of my favorite book series by Brandon Sanderson, the Stormlight Archive.
Okay.
There's these people gain this magic by bonding themselves with these magical beings called Spren, which are kind of like fairies. And they do that by swearing certain oaths. And the first oath they have to swear is journey before destination. The
Well, I like
journey
that.
matters. It matters more in many cases than the destination. And so that's how I kind of approach my sports fandom. What I said at the beginning of last season was play competitive baseball all year long. Be in it until September. Be in it until the Chiefs season starts.
Yeah.
So that I could be entertained by baseball this whole time. And they did that and more. And I was happy. Now I would like to see them at least reach the playoffs this year. If they don't reach the playoffs, I do think that's a failure following a playoff season, naturally. But once they make the playoffs, I think you've accomplished your goal. I have been entertained. If you win the World Series, great, cool. I'm very happy. I would like that. That I support that. Let's do that. But if you don't win the World Series, I don't think you've completely failed as an organization. I mean, obviously, you as the organization then needs to start going, okay, what do we do to get further? But even if they win, the next question is, okay, what do we do to do this again?
Yes.
So
Precisely.
that's just kind of the way it works. But yeah, that people will be out there. If they don't win, they will be furious about it, and I just can't ever understand that mindset.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So in my little hypothetical that I was putting together for the American League predictions, I did foresee an outcome where the Royals lost a 6-game series against the Texas Rangers, who I had winning the AL pennant in my
6-game
predictions.
series.
Yeah. Well, in 6 games.
In game 6 of the ALCS, I guess you mean?
Yes, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
It's a 7-game series.
Yeah, it's a 7-game series, and then it's a 5-game series in the ALDS, and
there's
a 3-game in the wild card.
I mean, if you're predicting that they're going to change the way the playoffs work in the middle of the season, that is a very interesting prediction that I would like to dive into more.
Let's not. Excuse me. Sorry, I fat fingered the wrong number here. I apologize. And you know what? I think that I'm trying to think of at what point I would be disappointed with the Royals season, and I think missing the playoffs would be a slight disappointment. But even then, like, I trust that this team isn't going to fall flat on its face. It's not going to have the offseason that it did and then end up, contending with the White Sox for last place in the division. That's just not how it's going to go. So I don't know. Like you said, journey over destination. I was not expecting a Brandon Sanderson journey before destination. Excuse me. See, I need to read some Sanderson apparently.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to take our first break. We're going to hear from some Royals creators, and we'll get right back to it with all the information you need to know about opening day. Stay tuned.
Hi there, this is Connor Moylan, and these are my predictions for the 2025 season. How many wins will the Royals end up with in 2025? I'm going to say 88. Who will be the Royals MVP not named Bobby Witt Jr. and why? Say the Royals MVP not named Bobby Witt Jr. will be Cole Reagans because my prediction is he will be the second best player on the team this season. Bold, I realize. Will the Royals win the division and why? I'm going to say no, that they will still come up a little short. I have them second in the division behind the Detroit Tigers, who I really like their team. How will the Royals season end this year? I will say they will lose in the divisional round again because, I don't know, that's sort of what they feel like, and predictions are hard. So that's what I got.
Hi, I'm Dalton Vitt with Royals Data Dugout. These are my Royals predictions for 2025. The Royals will finish 89-73. After a 30-win improvement in 2024, I'll go with a much more modest but still meaningful 3-win gain in 2025, thanks to the addition of Jonathan India, a fortified bullpen, and improved depth across the roster. The Royals MVP not named Bobby will be Jonathan India. For all the fair criticism of the inability to add to the outfield mix, KC did solve its biggest offensive issue, the leadoff spot. India's 350 OBP, gap power, and base running chops will take a lot of weight off Witt's shoulders to set the table for Vinny, Salvi, and the middle of the order. The Royals will not win the division, not because they can't, but because 4 good teams all have legitimate claims for the AL Central crown. Detroit is young and hungry, much like Kansas City. Minnesota has the most talented offense, if healthy, and an elite bullpen. Cleveland is Cleveland. One of those 4 will win 92-95 games and take the title, but for the sake of this exercise, I'll play the math and say the Royals finish second, but with a firm grip on a wild card seat. The Royals season will end in the ALCS. Just like I have them improving in the regular season, I'll say they take a step forward in the playoffs too. The American League is wide open, especially with the injuries in New York. Despite my pessimism on KC winning its division, the Royals are built for playoff baseball with a formidable rotation and stout, deep bullpen. Plus, I have faith in J.J. Piccolo and company to plug holes at the deadline, and there's a guy named Jack potentially ready to bolster the lineup in the second half too. They'll win 2 series before bowing out in October. You can find my work all season long on Substack, including my full season preview that's live right now and 2 to 3 weekly newsletters at royalsdatadugout.substack.com. You can also follow me on X at royalsdata and on Blue Sky at royalsdatadugout.bsky.social.
All right, welcome back to the Royals Rundown podcast. Thank you for sticking around, and thank you all who sent us audio and write-ups responding to these questions. I do appreciate it. Jeremy, you said during the break that you had a question for me.
Yeah, one of my favorite questions that didn't end up in our roundtable this season on Royals Review is, and this is how I got my 2017 home run breaking prediction, was what's one bold prediction you would make about the Royals season this year?
Bold prediction.
I'll tell you mine.
Man.
And then you can
you say yours first?
Yeah. So it's going to sound like I'm copying Lesky, but I promise I thought this before I read his newsletter. Jack Caglione going to be up by June.
By June,
he's going to be an offensive force for this Kansas City Royals team. I mean,
okay.
If you go look at me on Royals Review, you saw I predicted he was going to be the Rookie of the Year this year for the Royals, for the American League. So he's got to come up relatively quick to have a shot at that. And I think that's what we're going to see. So there's my bold prediction.
I like it. All right, I'll go with the negative one. I don't think that the Royals will end 2025 with MJ Melendez in the organization.
Okay, interesting.
I think he's gone entirely.
It's possible, I suppose. I tend to think that they would try. Well, does he have options left? They might demote him. Or they might demote him to the minor leagues rather than cut him entirely. But I guess then, if you count not tendering him for his next arbitration as part of this season, then yeah, I do think that that's entirely plausible.
And I do fully believe that Lucas Erceg will get an All-Star nod this year.
How many? You don't have to tell me how many Royals All-Stars.
3.
3? Just 3?
3. Yep, just 3. We had 4 last year. That was pretty good. I'm going to go with 3 this year, though.
5.
No, 5? Dang, okay.
5.
That's pretty aggressive. I like that.
Well, I feel like there's 3 3 that are guarantees, and then there are like 3 or 4 that feel like real strong possibilities, and not all of those guys can make it. So I'm gonna go 5.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, but hey, that's the fun part about bold predictions. It's we can laugh about it at the mid-season mark and just keep it moving, right?
Yeah, and I will definitely be right, or this will never have happened.
Of course, that is the only way that we do things here at the Royals Rundown
This
podcast.
podcast will be mysteriously missing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's not ask questions that we don't want the answer to.
The part where I say something and it'll just be like dubbed over with a completely different sound quality.
There we go. All right, so some of our write-ins, I do want to get to them before I forget. So Max wrote in, our lovely editor-in-chief.
Maximus to the Maximus.
Hey, he has Jonathan India as the non-Bobby Royals MVP. So maybe he was one of those voters. A 380 OBA with 110 runs scored. That's Max's prediction.
Whoa, that's a spicy meatball. I like it. That would be a big season out of Jonathan India. 380 OBP.
Huge. It would be huge.
It was Lesky or Craig Brown who wrote that they think not only will India have a good season, but he'll get an extension. Stick around in KC for a while. I think if he puts up a 380 OBP, OBA, however you want to say it, I think we could see it would make a lot of sense to extend him and be like, please, you obviously prefer playing in Kauffman. We prefer having a leadoff hitter. Let's do this thing.
And a marriage made in heaven, if you will. Let me go ahead and read off for Max's verbatim.
To interrupt you at random intervals.
No, you're good. We're just excited for opening day, man. All right, Max says the Royals will win the division by having a top 5 pitching staff in all of baseball. The offense will be better than it was last year, but still rather mediocre. But they'll have a solid pen all year. Even with some regression by the starters, they will have more depth behind them. And then lastly, Max says, I think the Royals are still a tier below the top teams in the league, so I see them falling in the ALDS again. I think they'll make a big move at the deadline, but it won't be enough, and they'll have to spend an offseason determining how to take things to the next level. Jeremy, that was kind of in the same vein that you were talking about, some teams approaching a postseason exit, right? Like you gotta figure out how not only to get back there, but how do we take a step forward?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Chiefs fans, we've watched Brett Veach and Andy Reid and everybody over there on the other side of the parking lot do this year after year. We got knocked out in the championship series. All right, well, how do we get past them? Okay, well, we fix our offense. We got knocked out in the Super Bowl. How do we fix that? We fix our offensive line. We get lost here. How do we fix that? Well, we get some receivers, et cetera, et cetera. And they always figure it out. That's what, if JJ Piccolo wants to be as revered in Kansas City as Brett Veach is, that's what he's going to have to start doing.
Another Royals review writer, Cullen, also has Royals at 90 wins, non-Bobby MVP Jonathan India as well. Expects him to finish either second or third on the team in B-WAR, runs scored, and on-base percentage. So that's a pretty good trio of stats, if you ask me. Also, the Royals will win their division because they've improved a team that competed the entire season in 2024 thanks to their off-season additions, and no other AL Central team came close to upgrading their squad this offseason as much as the Royals did.
That's the thing that gets me about the people who are like, they're going to lose 75. They're like, they're not drastically better. I'm like, did you look at what the other teams did? The Red Sox got better. What other AL team got better?
You know what? And I can't really think of one. Yeah, I think the Rangers got better with some injury, people coming back from injury, excuse me.
A lot of question marks and not a lot of depth too. So I get it. I also was like, the Royals offseason, I give it a C+ B- grade, but everyone else got Fs.
Right, graded on a curve.
If we were grading on a curve, it would be like an A. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. I remember Royals fans not Royals fans, but some fans on social media getting a little riled up. I think it was Bleacher Report. They put out their first MLB power ranking of the year, and the top 6 teams were all National League teams.
That checks out. Did you see what happened in that league last year?
Yeah. They I can name off so many National League teams that got better.
The Royals were the second wild card with 86 wins.
Mm-hmm.
The Diamondbacks missed the playoffs with 89 wins.
Which is insane.
Yes, the NL is better than the AL right now. It just is.
It's just how it goes sometimes. And that's okay. Lastly, Cullen also agreed with me in a sense. He has the Royals losing the ALDS against the Texas Rangers in a full 5-game set. So thank you very much, guys, for sending those in, and we'll get to some other reactions and responses from Royals fans around the globe. I will say this: we got an international response. All right, so we already talked about Vinny. His status is a big thing ahead of opening day, but I think it's important. Right now it is.
Firearm to your head, deadly weapon to your head. Is Vinny in the opening day lineup or not?
Yes, I think he's in the opening day lineup.
We agree. Good. I do not have to pull any triggers.
No, you did not.
You have answered correctly.
You have answered wisely.
I think that's chosen wisely. If we're
chosen wisely, yep.
We're quoting Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you choose the Grail, which, the more I think about that, the sillier that seems. But we don't need to follow that rabbit trail. Go on, Jacob.
No, we don't. All right, opening day things that you need to know. No surprise, Cole Reagan's opening day starter. If you forgot, Tanner Bybee is getting the opening day start for the Cleveland Guardians. This is his first opening day start, so congratulations to him. I was also shocked.
Can John Kinsey Noel please sit on the bench?
I mean, he can hit foul balls. It's just about if the umpires will call it right.
So I texted you this the other night, Jacob, but I'm going to tell you again for the audience. I was playing MLB The Show, as I do quite frequently. I'm having an absolute blast with this year's iteration of it. And I was playing a game against the Guardians, and it was the bottom of the ninth. 2 runners were on, and I was up by 3. And John Kinsey Noel hit a ball, and he's like, it's a no-doubter. And he's like strutting over to first, and I'll watch it. It's hooking. And he went foul, and he got called foul. And I was like, that's what that feels like. Yeesh. And then I struck him out and won the game.
There you go. Revenge. Best served cold. I was surprised to see that the Guardians.
Heater.
Oh, but that was a good one. That was a good one, Jeremy. I was surprised to see that Cleveland has only had 3 different opening day starters since like 2015. Like they
had Corey Kluber was the clear ace for a while, and then Justin was the clear ace for a while.
Not Justin, as in not Justin Bieber.
Yeah, Shane Bieber. That was his Players Weekend nickname when they were allowed to have nicknames.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that was his nickname was not Justin.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see here.
By the way,
go ahead.
Come on, MLB, bring back the nicknames.
Yes, please.
I miss Bro Hurt.
That's one best remaining forgotten, if you ask me.
Well, the Orioles like him just fine.
Yep, that they do, and good on them. All right, so some of the details you need to know. First pitch on Thursday is at 3:10 Kauffman Standard Time, 4:10 for us East Coast folks out here. You can listen to the game on Odyssey 96.5 The Fan. You can watch on the new FanDuel Sports Network Kansas City, or go check out the Amazon Prime version of it. See how you like the subscription there. We had Ryan Lefevre on the podcast yesterday, and he really broke down a lot of the options and avenues for.
I'm so sad I missed that, man. I am so sad. My job, I was like, I'm gonna go make sure I block off this time, and then when I looked at my calendar, it's like, oh no, I have a very important meeting I absolutely cannot miss.
Yeah, I would have loved to have you on there, because my favorite part personally, talking about Denny Matthews, because it is. Sometimes I love watching the game, but sometimes I really just like listening to a game, in part for Denny entering year 57 with the Kansas City Royals.
Every year the Royals have been a team, he's been calling games.
Yeah, it's an absolutely incredible run from him, and I really want more fans to tune into that avenue and understand like how important he is to Royals history.
Let me remind any of you out there who have MLB.TV subscriptions, most of the time, not always, because MLB TV is kind of screwy, but most of the time you can set it up to play the radio audio while watching the game. And I did that more than a few times back when Fizz was still with the team because I could not take Rex and Fizz.
Oh, that was a pretty rough combo.
I don't dislike Rex. I love Rex. You know I love Rex. I love Rex so much. Next offseason, I'm gonna go find him and drag him onto the podcast. Okay. I want to talk to that man about everything because he's tremendous. And I don't hate Fizz. I don't. But the two of them together was very grating for me.
Yeah, sometimes it's just how, one broadcaster can be great, and you put two great broadcasters together, and they don't have a lot of chemistry, and you can tell. Now, I don't know their names, but I've been seeing a lot of social media clips of the Philadelphia Phillies announcers together. They are so funny. They've been all over my TikTok, and they have just been very funny.
I'm not sure what the Rangers are doing because I had to watch them for the last 3 games. Royals were TV. Yeah. So the Rangers were, and they had different guys in there. It sounded like they had like one main guy, and I didn't bother to look up anybody's names because I'm a slob. What do I care? And it sounded like they had different guys in there with him. So they had like a broadcaster, then some former players who were doing it with him. And the guy that they had in there, who I think was some kind of pitcher. On Tuesday night, on Monday night. Sorry, the first game in Globe Life.
Yeah, Monday.
He and the guy were a hoot together. It was a good time. Now the chemistry was not there on Tuesday night, unfortunately. It sounded like a position player, but it's good stuff, man. I gotta listen to more alternate broadcasts. Because they were also, they were loving on Vinny. And they were loving on Salvi. And it's like, sometimes it's nice to hear it from somebody else.
Right. One record that I do think is in danger of being broken this year on opening day is the opening day attendance record.
Ooh.
Because the Royals already announced a sellout crowd there in Kauffman Stadium. The opening day attendance record set back in 2005 against the Seattle Mariners, 41,788. Now, if you go on MLB.com, you can't buy any more tickets from the Royals directly. And you know what? If they're still selling fountain passes, I think there's a real shot that the positivity is high enough, the weather is perfect enough, and all the conditions are right for that record to be broken in 2025. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So if you are in the Kansas City area and you don't mind standing to watch a baseball game, go get a fountain pass. Go watch the Royals beat the Guardians and start the season off right on Thursday. Jeremy, is there anything else that you think listeners should know ahead of opening day?
It's good for baseball to be back. I'm excited to watch some baseball. I'm excited to continue playing baseball in MLB The Show. I'm having a great time over there. As I've mentioned before, y'all should, if you play video games, if you want to play baseball video games, you should check it out. Now, I'm not to say it's perfect. There are some weird bugs with the stadium creator. There's some weird bugs with swapping out your rosters in Diamond Dynasty. But it is really fun, and there's a lot of good Royal stuff happening in there. They've got some Whit Merrifield, some Alex Gordon, some George Brett going on. They got rookie Bobby Witt Jr. in there. If you're like, oh man, I want to play with Bobby Witt Jr., but his card's too expensive in Diamond Dynasty, you can get the rookie one for free, real quick, real easy. There's a lot of fun to be had there. And baby, it's baseball season, baby. We're gonna face the Guardians. We're gonna see what these Royals are made of. And words, they're hard.
Words are hard.
Excited.
Yes, we're very excited. And I know that on RoyalsReview.com, that opening day game thread is going to be absolutely popping. So this season, Matt Chatbot is going to be putting together all of the
Chatbot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chabot. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, I think it's Chabot or something like that.
Chabot.
But I definitely, every time I see his name, I'm like, Chatbot.
That is what my brain says every single time. And we know how great I am at pronouncing names here on the podcast. It's really a skill that I've developed over the years. Matt is putting together all the game threads this season, so we appreciate him. But if you go onto the game thread, you're going to have
all the game threads.
I think he is.
No, I'm definitely doing Saturday's game threads.
Oh, really? Okay, never mind then. I was wrong. I thought he was doing all of them.
I'm pretty sure Lamar has his own, and Greg might have his own too.
Okay. Never mind that. Either way, game threads. Gonna be 162 of them at the very least. Go join the other Royals fans and just talk about the game. I know that most of the time I'll be like live tweeting or live posting about a game, but usually, no.
You won't be tweeting.
I'm not gonna say it.
We
Stop
skating
it
out here.
Stop it, Jeremy.
Skating. Skate.
Do I need to pull up Urban Dictionary to educate you real quick on
I
that?
don't want any of that.
Yeah,
Erase,
that's what I thought.
delete.
Listen, no stress. A lot of fun to go and talk about the game that is going on at royalsreview.com with other Royals fans. So go check it out. Go check out the rumblings on Thursday morning because I know that's going to be popping as well. But we are just so very, very excited to have Kansas City Royals baseball back. And I know the guys that are about to talk after me will as well. So let's go and take another break. Let's hear from some other creators and fans, and then we'll get on to our Royals reviews. Stay tuned.
Todd Barton with the Uncle Toddcast, Kansas City's #1 sports talk that's recorded in a garage. The Royals will end 2025 with 87 wins. I've heard a few predictions of 88, but variables such as the health of Vinny Pasquantino or Hunter Harvey led me to shave 1 win. The Royals MVP not named Bobby Witt Jr. will be Jonathan India, because his production will be the key to the Royals offense taking a step forward. As his on-base percentage goes, so goes the run production of the top of the lineup. Hopefully, India can keep the pressure on the opposing pitching to raise the output of Bobby Witt Jr., and maybe even veterans like Mark Hanna or Kevin Biggio. More runs, more wins. The Royals will win the AL Central in 2025 because the Twins and Tigers will regress, and the White Sox will just be the White Sox. I think it will be a race, but I think the Royals have added just enough offense and relief pitching to get it done. And thus ends the 2025 Royals progression. This season will end in yet another divisional round series loss. My gut feeling is any of the teams the Royals would likely face will be just too much to overcome. Thanks for having me on. If you'd like to check out the Uncle Toddcast, that's UNKLETODDCAST on all the usual suspects, YouTube, X, Facebook, Blue Sky, IG, and etc. Thanks again. Go Royals.
Trenton Craxner, staff writer for Royals Review. I believe that the Royals will win 91 games this year. I think that they will benefit from their starting pitching again this year, and I do believe the bullpen will be a lot stronger, especially the back end, which will lead to a lot more wins and closer games when the offense struggles because they have lockdown guys and Hunter Harvey, Angel Zerpa, Estevez, Urseg, and all those guys. I think the bullpen on paper is way stronger this year than it was last year. The Royals MVP not named Bobby Witt Jr. will be Seth Lugo because I think that versatility of all the different pitches that he's able to throw and how he's such a gamer on the mound, I think if he can replicate his success like he did last year, he will be in the Cy Young talks once again and be able to help the starting rotation stay strong like it did last year. It's kind of an old-style team where it's not based around offense, it's based on the pitch. I think Seth Lugo will once again be the Royals MVP that doesn't have the name Bobby Witt Jr. I think the Royals do win the division. I think they beat the Guardians out by about 3 or 4 games. I think it's going to be tight all the way to the finish, and I think the first series coming up here this weekend will be the statement. If you can take 2 out of 3, sweep them at home, something like that, you're letting them know, hey, we're right here again, and we're going to be doing this. And I think the Royals will cruise to 91 wins, which will be good enough to win the division. And I think they'll rest on that starting pitch and the superstardom of Bobby Witt Jr. The Royals' season, unfortunately, ends in the ALCS. I think the Royals fall to the Rangers in 6 games. The Rangers is a team that the Royals have struggled with these past couple of years, and Bobby Witt Jr. particularly has not done well when returning to nearby hometown. And I think the Royals fall in 6 games in the ALCS to the Rangers, who will go on and win the World and be in the World Series and fall to the Mets ultimately. But another really good year for the Royals off the starting pitching. I think they make it around far this year and fall in the ALCS in Texas after 6 games.
Hello, my name is Junong Kim, aka Royals Jun. Okay, first question. How many wins will the Royals end 2025 with? I think we'll win 88 games. Yeah, 88 games. And second question, who will be the Royals MVP? Not named Bobby Witt Jr. and why? Okay, I will choose Cole Reagans. I think he will win the Cy Young Award this season, so he will be Royals MVP. Not named Bobby Witt Jr. of course. Okay, third question, will the Royals win the division and why? It's tough because this division is tough, so I think we will go at least second place. I think so, yeah, with 88 wins. Okay, last question. How will the Royals season end? If Bobby Jr. is not struggled on the playoff, I think we can go ALCS. Yeah, I think we will go ALCS if Bobby Jr. is not struggled these playoffs.
All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around with us. We're going to get to our reviews and get on out of here. Jeremy, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I just finished an anime recently, or at least the first season of one. It has a second season apparently coming out very soon, called Bochi the Rock. Now, Bochi in Japanese apparently means like alone or loner or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm probably screwing that up, but it's about this girl who, this high school girl who has extreme social anxiety, but also wants to be popular. And she sees a rock star on TV and knows her dad plays guitar. So she decides she's going to join a high school band or create a high school band and become popular that way. And it follows kind of her adventures. It's very cute, very silly, really cool animation stuff happening. They did not just stick to here's our anime animation. They did a lot of off the wall fun stuff to exhibit her social anxiety issues. And I know it's very popular out there, so a lot of you who are already interested in it have probably already seen it, and you're probably like, where have you been, Jeremy? And well, I've been right here, I guess. But I did watch it. I did love it. If you were thinking about it and hadn't gotten around to it, I do think I would recommend it.
Where can you watch that again?
That one's on Crunchyroll, and it is only subbed for now.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know, subs are good too. You can read. I believe in you.
So it's a little easier than well, it's a lot harder sometimes. Just like talking is, Jeremy. My review today is over a book I just finished last night. So if you saw my bookshelf behind me, one author that I have a lot of books of is Michael Lewis. If that name sounds familiar, Lewis wrote The Big Short, Moneyball, and I read one of his earlier works called Liar's Poker. And what it is, it's about his time as an investment banker with the Salomon brothers in the 80s. This is what I enjoy about Lewis is his prose. Like it's first person, it's very relatable, and you get that here. And I don't know, just like I'm not really interested in banking or that sphere, but him explaining the culture and just the different characters that are in his life at the time and in this story are just enrapture me. I know that it's a really small window of this bank story. Sorry, excuse me. So I wish it was a little bit longer, but of course, you know, Lewis went on to do great things in his writing career, so he didn't need to be a banker anymore. I highly suggest it. It's an easy read. It's a little less than 300 pages, so it doesn't take too long. But that's Liar's Poker by Michael Lewis. Go check it out if you like his other works. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. We appreciate y'all's support. Make sure ahead of the season, we are going to be doing a lot of work here on the podcast. So make sure you follow, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Please share it with your friends if you enjoy what we're doing here, or your friends are just Kansas City Royals fans. But the best place to find us is at royalsreview.com. If you want to keep the conversation going, You can do so on social media. You can do so via email. All those links are down in the podcast description below. All right, Jeremy, let's put our flag on this. Are the Kansas City Royals winning on Thursday?
You betcha.
Betcha. All right. I will take that bet as well. Kansas City Royals win 5-1 over the Guardians. All right, we're going to get on out of here. Yeah. Hey, specific scores. I have the script, remember? All right, I am Jacob Milham. They are Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, go Royals.